Jedi.
Your powers are weak, old man.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi! You don't know the power of the dark side.
Hello and welcome back to the Disciples of the Force podcast. We are your hosts, Spencer Silva and Austin Hyatt, and we are happy to be back.
We are. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you celebrate. If you don't, if you're anti-Thanksgiving, I hope it's okay day.
Yeah. I mean, we have fans from all over the world, so maybe you don't have Thanksgiving.
That's true.
But it's great.
We did get our Spotify Wrapped. I looked up for podcasters. We are over 7 countries is what they officially get on Spotify, 7 countries.
That's crazy.
United States 1, UK 2nd.
Okay.
Shout out to UK. Didn't tell me how many. Could be just 2 people in UK.
Hey, well,
people.
thank you. Thank you.
So thank you, guys. Thank you to our lovely listeners. And we're hoping you're having a great holiday season coming up.
Or a bloody good holiday season if you're in the UK.
And if you're in Canada, a good Boxing Day,
Hey, we have some listeners in India, don't we? Why don't you do their accent?
Oh, dude, I only do whites. I only do whites.
Oh, there's no white people in India. That's great. I apologize if my voice is a little hoarse today. I didn't notice it until Spencer and I started talking. I haven't really talked to anybody today, so I apologize.
You say that voice for me and me only.
Yeah, that's my bedroom voice.
So Star Wars news. We did see that George Lucas is not who I wanted to say. I meant to say Dave Filoni.
Same thing,
Same
right?
thing. One and the same.
Yeah.
They asked him about Ray Stevenson since he has passed away, what the plans were with Balin, what they were going to do with him. And he didn't really give a specific answer. He kind of just said, clearly there's a lot there. We don't really know what we're going to do. He didn't even throw out options if they were going to do maybe a new actor doing a recast or maybe even doing a CGI. It doesn't sound like he has any. I'm sure he maybe does have a plan, but he didn't voice anything of what he was going to do. So interesting nonetheless about that.
Yeah. That is interesting. I was trying to think of somebody that could cast that could kind of fit that role. But I can't think. The one person I did think of is the guy from Shawshank. He's also in Ahsoka. The hell is his name?
Morgan Freeman.
No, he's also in Gen V, and
oh yes,
he plays Brink in Gen V.
Yeah, he's got.
That's his actual name.
Real deep voice. He's in a bunch of animation too.
He's also in what was I just watching today? Invincible. He's in that. Yeah.
He would be he'd be scary.
Yeah,
maybe it's his fraternal twin brother.
Oh my gosh.
And he's coming to finish the job.
Do you think?
No.
Yeah, but anyway, I was thinking he could be an actor to replace him, but obviously he's already in Ahsoka, so.
What is he in?
Clancy Brown.
Oh,
sorry.
He's the voice in the Clone Wars. He is the mayor. He's the guy who plays in Ahsoka is what he is in Clone Wars, whatever he is.
He's also in Rebels.
Did I say Clone Wars?
You said Clone Wars.
Yeah.
He's probably in Clone Wars too.
That was a big mistake. I meant to say Rebels.
He's a big voice actor too, so he might be in Clone Wars before that.
I would be very surprised if he wasn't, of how big and how many characters he could play any type of alien species.
Yeah. He's actually also in SpongeBob SquarePants, so that's big. That's big news. He's SpongeBob. Just kidding, I don't know.
That would be a crazy casting.
It actually doesn't say it here. Also Rick and Morty. Oh my gosh. Okay, he's in everything. That's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. Clancy Brown, you said?
Yeah.
Remember the name?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess he couldn't. I mean, he would be a good candidate if he wasn't already established in the Star Wars universe.
But we've talked on this show ad nauseum that we want his character to continue, Balin Scrolls. So hopefully they find somebody. Hopefully they just recast it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm hoping. Wes, I mean, that's who we are. We're recasters over here.
Yeah.
Real quick, I did find the what Dave Filoni said exactly.
Okay, read it.
I'm gonna burp. Sorry, I told myself I wasn't gonna drink sodas, but if you look, this is sponsored by Mountain Dew, citrus cherry, game fuel.
Oh, jeez.
Available at your local Smith's or Kroger grocery, or literally anywhere in the world. So it doesn't actually matter where you go. So this is what Dave Filoni said. He said, We are in a wait-and-see pattern at this point, but I'm glad the conversation is about Rey and how great he was. I used to have many debates with him and say, Rey, you're the villain here, and he'd be like, I don't think so. I was like, I know you don't think so, but you are. I love that you're playing it like you're not, which is exactly the way Balin thinks, which is a cool insight to the character.
That's really cool.
But yeah, really nothing. He just said, obviously, there's a story there, is all he said. So he doesn't really have anything at this point.
Right.
Yeah, so something to look out for. Hopefully we'll see as them coming months. And Ahsoka technically hasn't even got an official second season. Yeah, not officially confirmed yet. So.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
According to this article from superherohype.com.
Yeah.
Who knows how reliable that is, but I don't know.
Well, no, I think we've talked about it before. I think we did some research on how it's going to shake out with the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see.
Yeah, because it could be, yeah. So we'll see. That's really what we got for news. I did see that the new Star Wars Clone Wars figures
Yeah, some new toys dropping. Figures, I
for,
guess they're not toys.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Right in time for holiday season, so that's awesome. That's all I got for news. I don't know if you have anything.
No, I don't have anything. It's a slow time.
Yeah.
Because it's since the strikes, I don't think they've come out and said anything about updated release dates.
Yeah. Because we were supposed to be, I didn't know this, we were supposed to be getting Skeleton Crew around this time.
Yeah, the end of this year. So
that'll have to be pushed back, which we talked about. We'll push back Acolyte.
yeah.
So kind of a limbo for us.
Also, Disney's losing money on like everything they put out, it seems. Right? Like they lost money on Wish, or they're going to, and that's only been out for like a week. And the Marvels was their worst MCU release ever. So it's like, are they going to restructure with Star Wars as well? We'll have to see. So it's kind of a weird limbo period. So sorry to our listeners that we don't have any updates on anything like that.
Yeah, that's true. And I think you bring up a good point that I wonder what Disney's going to do. Because, you know, big moves on Star Wars' part where they're pushing Dave Filoni to CCO.
Yeah.
Which shows that they do have them, at least as a department, are hoping for more. But
right.
You're right. Disney could do a whole restructure, might pause to figure things out, to get stable, get their feet underneath them. So that's a good point.
Yeah. I think the secret, if any Disney execs are listening, so, I mean, I guess we've got Dave's number on speed dial.
I'll call Davey.
But I read a thing today that no movie with a budget of over $200 million has broke even this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Anything?
No.
Really?
No movie at all with a budget over $200 million has broken even or made a profit.
Is that a common budget? I don't really know. For
it's a big budget, but it's depending on, like, for a Marvel movie, that's kind of common or even under what you would make one for. Like any of those big blockbuster movies, Oppenheimer was being lauded for only using like $80 million, I think. And that made almost $1 billion. Same with Barbie, that was under $200 million and made $1 billion plus. But anyway, I think like all of the Star Wars movies that Disney has made have been a budget over $200 million. And it's like, I don't know.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's something to keep.
So maybe they need to reset. I just think the cinema landscape is totally different now. Yeah. And I may have misspoken just now. I think Oppenheimer had a bigger budget. I can't remember. It was definitely less than 200. And The Creator is another one that was made for a low budget. Low-ish, relatively.
Oppenheimer was 100 million.
Okay, I think The Creator was 80 million then.
You guys can say you're like 20 million off. That's in millions. That's not that bad.
Yeah, I wish I was. Yeah.
If I could talk about 20 million like it's nothing, it's only 20 million. Sorry, my friend Forrest just messaged. What did he say? So
he's wondering about playing.
We play Warzone. If you don't know that, so
dude, could you play it on your laptop screen or your Mac screen? Could you plug in
could actually technically. Well, we'll have to see because you can do that controller to my.
Oh, I know that, dude.
Oh, you're saying?
No, I'm meaning like plug your HDMI into one of these guys.
I'll have to look into that.
Because if it's just the refresh rate,
it's true. Anyway, sorry about that. All right, quick little update on my reading from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
I hadn't finished The Master and Apprentice, and one thing I liked at the very end of it, so this is Qui-Gon talking to Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Qui-Gon says, Obi-Wan says to Qui-Gon, I lied to the boy, and then Qui-Gon jumps in and says, if you had told him the truth, he might have been scared and feared, been fearful of what you were saying, and he could have led him to the dark side. And they're referring to the time when Obi-Wan tells him that he didn't. What was the question? He knew his dad. Oh, he's referring to the fact that Darth Vader killed his father.
Right.
That's what he's alluding to. Like, it wasn't a technical lie, but he could have, been more direct.
Right.
Which is cool because it adds into like the why Obi-Wan's thinking of why he said it that way. Which, I mean, is not wrong with how everything we've seen, but it's really cool because he's like, yeah, I did lie to him, but then Qui-Gon gives him that reassurance, like, yeah, but if you didn't, it could have struck fear into him, like, oh, my dad went to the dark side. Well, if I go to the dark side, and fear leads to the dark side. So, pretty cool.
Something dark side. No, that's a great point. Because that was like the whole plot of Empire Strikes Back. Well, I mean, even bleeding into Return of the Jedi, is that you don't know which side Luke is going to favor after he finds out. Sorry, I misspoke. That's not the plot of Empire Strikes Back, but after he finds out that Vader's his father, then there's that kind of conflict that we see.
Yes.
But also when he's training in the cave on Dagobah, he sees that he'll become Darth Vader in that vision or whatever.
Yeah, when he hits the mask or whatever.
So that's really interesting. And isn't that why that book series is called From a Certain Point of View? Because of that line in Empire?
Oh, yeah, like, because I don't know if that's the reasoning, but that would make sense.
I'm sure.
They do.
Because that's what Obi-Wan says to Luke when he says, from what I told you was true from a certain point of view.
Yeah. Which I'm sure is exactly what it is. Yeah, so really cool. And then the other thing he said, Qui-Gon said, he's like, or he wouldn't have believed you and he would have thought you truly were the crazy old man that everyone says you are. Which I'm like, that's a good point too. Like, you can't, if you would have just said, hey, your dad was my Padawan, I'm a Jedi.
Right.
And now he's the Dark Lord, Darth Vader. He might be like, yeah, right. Talking crazy nonsense.
Well, I'm trying to think of when Obi-Wan told Luke that Darth Vader killed his father. It was when they first meet in the hut.
Because he said he was the best pilot in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And it's in that.
So at that point, does Luke even know who Darth Vader is? I mean, I'm sure the entire galaxy does, but he's on an outer world on Tatooine. Yeah. And he's just a farm boy. Like, they might not even have HoloNet, you know?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Let me ask Weddit real quick.
What do you have known? I mean, I'm sure that's a really good question because he is like well known throughout the galaxy being very scary. But I've seen, there's Rebels because I swear there's a point where I'm pretty sure it's Ezra says, what was that thing? And he's referring to Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I mean, his presence is known, but it might not be as well known as we think.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, I mean, even the Emperor like kept hidden from the public, like his appearance, and put on this whole front. So maybe Darth Vader was just totally operating in the shadows.
Yeah. Jeez, interesting question. What a good lore to just think of, to dive into, if you would. While you're looking that up, the next thing I saw was talking about Greedo and his backstory. Wasn't that cool? Didn't really care, but. Because you know the debate who shot first, right?
Right.
And we know with the original, it was Han. And it was edited to make it look like it wasn't.
Right.
But in the book, it almost like doubles down that it was Han. Because Greedo's talking, he's like, and he's like, oh, I'm going to take him in. I tell him he can surrender and give me the money now, but I'm going to take the money and him back to it and get double the money, double the value. And then he's like, says something, and then next thing he knows, boom, he's shot. It doesn't say that he fired at all. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that would have done even more to show that that's against Han's character. So I don't know. Interesting. Maybe I misread, but that's what it felt like.
I doubt it, dude. I bet you read just fine. You're a good reader.
I'm a do though.
Yeah, but it did read it. Yeah, the Reddit community seems to think, just going back to that, that the way Obi-Wan describes it, when he says a young Jedi named Darth Vader killed your father, or betrayed and killed your father. Yeah. Like, Luke would have been like, oh, I know Darth Vader. He was a Jedi or something like that. Mm-hmm. So they seem to think that he didn't know who Darth Vader was.
Which, yeah, honestly, I can believe that. I think that does play into an interesting role of like, well, I mean, yeah, kind of going off of Rogue One, Andor, like seeing from that point of view of just people who live during the Empire. You know, no one. I mean, I don't think we've heard any mention of Darth Vader at all. Mm-mm. Which I think if I was going against them, I'd be like, hey, well, we got to be careful about that super scary dude that everyone talks about that's in all black and there's like a machine, half man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he is just lurking in the shadow, which does put a cool, even more just like, ooh, who is this guy?
Yeah. And that might be established common knowledge that he wasn't well known throughout the galaxy, but I can't remember reading that anywhere. So
yeah. But I mean, clearly, I guess he wasn't, because I mean, with what we've seen, people didn't know. Because there's also another time, I think, from a certain point of view, I am pretty sure in that first part, they says something about the Dark Lord, and he was like, "Whoa, Darth Vader, what the heck was that thing?" And then someone else explained to him. So,
really? Because this says, supporting that, due to Imperial propaganda, the people of the former Galactic Republic knew nothing about the fall of the Jedi Order or Vader's role in it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess they would try to keep that all under the rug.
Yeah, because it was just like, I mean, the narrative was that the Jedi were traitors, and so they were just put down. But obviously
true,
the details of that never went anywhere.
I guess that's exactly true. Like if you were in the public eye and you just heard the Jedi turned and started killing people, you would have no idea that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And they eradicated them.
It's weird, though, because like if you were a citizen on Coruscant or something, and you saw how big the Jedi Temple was, and like the Jedi's presence in everything, even in politics.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's like, they're traitors and they're just dead.
It'd be a little weird.
Like I don't know, it'd be weird.
You'd be like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Along with that, I was thinking about when I was listening to the book, and it's going into the backstory of when they're in the cantina. When Obi-Wan just whips out his lightsaber.
Yeah.
I was like, now that's interesting. This dude has been undercover for so long, not wanting anyone to know who he is. And he just whips it out in front of all these people. I'm like, I've never thought of like, clearly with it being the first movie, it makes sense. You want people to be in. Of
course.
Like, oh, what is this? But looking at the whole plot line, you're like, wait a minute. His whole thing was to be in hiding.
Yeah.
He just gave out who he was immediately, and they're supposed to be dead for years at this point.
I'm trying to think of like an in-universe explanation to that.
I mean, what I'm thinking, the only thing I can think of would be that the Force wielded it so that it established that Obi-Wan wasn't this crazy guy. But he already knew. We already saw the lightsaber in the house.
Yeah.
Huh.
But we didn't see, like, he brought it out of a box, and we never got to see before that how capable Obi-Wan was. So, I mean, still, that would convince Luke.
It's true, maybe he needed to show, hey, I can wield
business.
this thing. I know what I'm doing. And if there's a threat, I can take it out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because, I'm sure Obi-Wan in some form knew that he's probably going to die on the Death Star.
And they knew they were leaving Tatooine immediately. So
I'm sure he's like, what does it matter? I'm going to meet my fate. Interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, very cool.
Anyway, well, it's time for a new favorite segment. Guess That Jedi.
Okay.
If you're playing along at home, I'm going to read you off some little facts. You're going to guess the Jedi. Austin's going to do it again this week because he's a better guesser than me. Okay, here we go. This Jedi was born on Coruscant. This Jedi was around the year 68 BBY was born, and while becoming a Padawan and going into the Jedi Order, expressed fear about not becoming a Jedi and was praised by his master for his honesty, insight, and intelligence. His first mission was to Shulpak. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And this Jedi had a forbidden love on the planet Felucia. And their master turned to the dark side. And this Jedi himself was also a master to a very powerful Jedi. I made it really cryptic for you. I want to make it a little.
Well, okay.
If you want me to give you a hint, I can give you.
Sorry. Born on Coruscant.
Yeah.
60 BBY. So he's around 40 at the time of Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
His master turned to the dark side.
His master.
His or her.
His.
His master turned to the dark side, and he raised a powerful Jedi.
He raised a powerful Jedi.
Literally. Gosh, give me a hint.
Okay. One hint that I can give you was I had it written down here. That I'm trying to give one that's not too. This Jedi dies before Revenge of the Sith happens.
Oh, then Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Okay, jeez.
See, that's the thing. Anything else I would have said would have been pretty huge.
I was like, because I just did myself in with the timeline. Mm-hmm. Because the hint that his master went to the dark side and he trained a powerful Jedi, obviously. But I was thinking he was alive, so I'm an idiot.
No, I made it hard because I was like, what could I say? Oh, he dies in Phantom Menace. Boom.
Right.
Okay, who was the only Jedi that dies? Or he trained a Jedi who would go on to train the Chosen One.
Yeah.
Or he trained.
That's perfect.
He found the Chosen One.
So what were the other hints you gave after?
So born on Coruscant, and then while he was a Padawan, when he was talking to Count Dooku, he expressed fear about becoming a Jedi. He didn't know if he would do good.
Okay.
And then Count Dooku was like, "No, thank you for being honest," and gave him insight on how that was a very smart thing to do. Their first mission was to Shuropak, which I don't know I know nothing about that. Just that was things. And then he had a forbidden love, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that. That threw me off too.
I knew it would. I'm a little sneaky.
You're a little sneaky.
So the cool thing about that, I was reading about it. So he found love. The thing is, on the article, it just said someone. So I don't know where. I got to find the comic or whatever book refers to the person. But it was really cool because it showed how big of a test it was for him. Like he loved this person. He's like, I don't know what to do. Do I stay or do I keep to the Jedi Order? He chose the Jedi Order. But the really cool thing was the person, his little love fling, gave him a Mustafar fire diamond. Oh. And it was really cool because he kept it on him, which reminded him like this was his path, that he chose to give that up and stay committed to the Jedi path.
Wow.
Like he left that behind to do what he is doing now.
That's crazy.
And then the second thing that was really cool, he talks about when he's a Padawan and he's going through the temple, he's actually with one of Count Dooku's former Padawans, who is now a master. He's a master at this point. Is he? I don't know. But he's talking to him, giving him hints on or tips on how to deal with Count Dooku. And he says to him, look at this holocron. And he looks at it and he's like, yeah, when I was looking at this, Count Dooku told me to not worry about it because it was a prophecy holocron. And he's like, we don't study those anymore because it led too many people down the dark side.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And it's really interesting because the other Padawan goes, that's super weird because when I was his Padawan, he made me study this kind of stuff, like prophecies.
Qui-Gon, Dooku made him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it kind of shows that something in that is like pushing down the wrong path. But it also shows that Qui-Gon was like really into it and like he would study a lot of prophecy stuff, which makes sense when he finds Anakin.
Right.
Like, oh, this is the prophecy. I've studied so much. I know this is who it's supposed to be.
Wow. Crazy.
So it really goes right into his. And then I think that was really it. Would Dooku on a mission? Oh, and that was the other thing was one time Dooku saved Qui-Gon using the lightning.
Right.
And it freaked Qui-Gon out because he's like, that's like a Sith power.
Yeah. Don't we see that in Tales of the Jedi?
Oh, do we? Oh, we might actually. It might be a Tales.
That sounds familiar. We might not see it, but
well, it was around the time it did talk about that scene, so I might actually totally be
interesting.
Yeah. And the last thing was it talks about how since Qui-Gon was so focused on studying and the living form of like the Force and learning the living Force is how he was able to communicate after death, but he could only do the voice in the beginning. Like, he could only communicate. It took him years to be able to actually show himself, which is cool because we know that, but this was cool to see.
Very cool.
That's all I have about Qui-Gons.
Okay, well, I really like that segment. I will have somebody prepared next week. Yeah, you might need to remind me.
But be nice to me because you're smarter than me. That's why I went hard on you.
Okay, I'm going to do Opal Rancisis.
No!
Go.
All right, let's jump into Andor. And if you're hopping off because you got what you wanted, stick around. We got some good insights on Andor. So
hop back on that thing and go for a ride, baby. What?
You're a freak.
Why?
Nothing.
Sicko.
Oh, wait, we do the camera thing. Oh, I freaking pushed everything out. Wait for it.
Oh, really?
Nothing.
That's so sick.
Is that cool, dude? Is that awesome?
It's pretty sick.
For our listeners, I figured out that you can zoom in. And so I just zoomed it to my face and said, well, all right, we're done. Let's go.
Okay, Andor. Episode 5 is what we're on, right?
Yes, sir. My first note is Sick Tats.
Yes.
What's his name? I know you have it pulled up.
I want to do it without Skeen. Peter Skeen Ogden. What's his name? Let's see.
Why is it really Ogden?
Harville Skeen. Sorry. No, the trapper was named Peter Skeen Ogden, so that's how I remembered it.
That's funny. Loved his tattoos, which are cool because they had a meaning because he was in prison.
Yeah.
And that's the connection that him and Cassian have.
Yeah, and only Andor or Cassian understood it, and he knew that it meant he was like a bad dude, you know.
Which is really cool.
I just love that storytelling technique too, where he's like, I saw you looking at it, you know none of the others do.
Yeah.
And they don't tell us exactly what it means or how Cassian knows it, because we assume it's from a prison because he says, I was in wherever I was for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just really cool that that mysteriousness of it.
Yeah, I
You
know.
didn't have to say, oh, that's a red heron tattoo or something like that. It's like, oh.
This is the Bleep Blop 6'4".
Yeah.
It means that I killed 2 people in prison while being
Right.
held down underwater.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. But it's like very, I see what you're saying. Like, alludes, and you gotta kind of build what it really
Right.
truly means.
Leaves
So-
it up to the imagination. Are those new jeans?
Yeah, these are my new Levi's.
Are those 511s? What'd you do?
No, I actually went with a 514. I don't know.
Might be 541.
Maybe 541.
Anyway, they look great, dude.
Thank you. They are the little stretch ones, which I know you're talking mad crap.
Hey, dude, no, stretch is fine.
It's just because I liked, out of all the length, like all the width of it, I like these ones. They weren't too tight and they weren't too large.
They look great.
Thank
Love
you.
that light wash.
Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome.
I wore them for you.
Thanks.
The next thing I have here was the idea of a manifesto that the kid's writing.
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting.
it is interesting. I can't remember. Doesn't Cassian like carry this around with him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when something happens later down the road, he takes it.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's even featured in Rogue One briefly. Isn't he like carrying a book with him?
That would be actually really cool. I didn't think of that.
So the character that wrote that manifesto is named Nemec
Jameson.
Jameson.
No.
Nemec's manifesto. Rogue One. I'm just gonna look up.
Sure, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was cool because he shows the depth of that character specifically. Nemec, is that his name? Nemec.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like this kind of philosopher, like deeper thinking of everything, and he's for the battle. He's actually doing something, but he wants to like let something last.
Right.
If he dies, this is what I want people to remember.
Yeah, it's
That
very
is
cool. I liked his analogy to like the Pathfinder unit or whatever it was, and he's like, both of these are leading a course towards truth, whatever, yada yada. When I first saw this series, I was like, Nemec's a nerd, and that's what they're playing him to. But now it's like he's really the spark behind Andor's success in the rebellion.
It's
you know?
true. Absolutely, he's very influential for him. Which is, I didn't think of that at all the first time watching it. So
crazy.
very cool.
The tie-in here is Cassian carries like a little book in Rogue One tied to his jacket.
Oh, really?
So they say that's his manifesto.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
So it really does play, and like it stood out to him that much.
Yeah,
which is
kept
sweet.
it with him forever.
The next part I have here is when they're asking him about the ship, and they ask how he would fly it out. I love that part.
Yeah,
He's like, "What would you do if I wasn't here?
yeah,
Just answer the question." He's like, "I want to know what you would do."
yeah. So cool. And he's like, if it's my ass on the line, I want to be the one flying it.
Yes, exactly.
Just love swearing in Star Wars. Little itty bitty swearing like that.
And he's like, "You could tell him it's your idea. I don't care. It's just, I want to make sure that we don't die."
Yeah, and it goes back to that thing we've talked about. Like, Cassian's a survivor.
Yeah.
At his very core, that's what he does. He's not really driven at this point by any kind of value system or any dedication to the rebellion. It's just he wants to survive and get out of this, get paid.
Get paid so he can live on his own and be away from everything.
Right.
Everything he'd known is now gone. So I love that part.
Yeah,
I thought it was a really good little monologue, or what he was going off on for a little bit.
very great. I just love again, we've talked about how people complained about how slow it was, but like just the camp dynamic between the group, I think the slow nature of the show was awesome for that, like building up the story between them. Like when Skeen is talking about Cinta because he sees Andor like checking her out, He's like, she's already sharing a blanket, if that's what you're wondering, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Vel is also jealous and like has that. She, out of like duty, she trusts Cassian and will like have him there, but she doesn't like him and she despises him and she's jealous of what he's doing to Cinta, you know?
Yeah, she's like, you can dress yourself.
Yeah.
And the other thing I liked was he's like just talking to Cinta and she comes in right in the middle of their talking and cuts him off, which I never noticed before because I think you don't know anything really till later on. But
right.
That's really cool.
It's just cool. Like Cassian's an outcast in every way. Yeah. And everybody in the group, except for Nemec, really has a reason to distrust him or dislike him. Yeah. Maybe Cinta also doesn't. I don't know. But very cool.
Yeah.
Next thing that I was thinking of, sorry if I'm jumping. I didn't keep notes this time. But I'm burping. We got to stop drinking soda.
But it is so good.
It just keeps me awake. When they're like practicing their marching.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you two switch? They're like, why? He's like, yada yada's left-handed. And then they're like, what am I? Right, you know? Like, I don't know, it's just cool that, I don't know, man. It's just great. That character development of like what he does to survive. And like, we see him from the beginning where he's picked up from the
planet.
Yeah. Kilani? Not Kilani.
No, it's
Kenari. Where he's picked up. Where he's picked up from Kenari. Like he had to survive out there, and like we don't even know what he learned to do that.
Yeah.
But at the very least, like it formed him into who he is now, who is somebody who's like distrusting of everybody, very observant, and those are exactly the skills that make him the hardcore spy that he becomes for the rebellion. You know.
Yeah. No, it's true, and it's like. Kind of going what you're saying, like he's just surviving, and since he's so like focused on surviving, he's literally focusing on everyone. Like he doesn't trust them either.
Yeah,
kind of a thing. He's like, I'm here, but you guys, you know. So he's like, it shows that he's taking note of everyone that he notices as to what their right, or like what their dominant hand is.
Right.
Like for example, he talks about, I forget who it is, but shoots left, but everything else is right. You know, and they're like, that's crazy detail to know. Yeah. So it's just really cool that playing to his character that he's so observant because he's so set on surviving.
Right.
Really cool.
Very cool. Anything else? Next thing I've got is the TIE Fighter.
That's what I said. The surprise from above part.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I have.
Very cool. What does Nemec say? It's like
a surprise from above is never more shocking than one from below.
Yeah. Very cool.
Which is, it's like it plays into so many things. Just in the whole Star Wars universe, getting taken out by the rebels, like from below, they're like, whoa.
Right.
But also in the series, what it means, very awesome.
Because what's the common theme that'll come up this next episode, I think, but where they keep saying climb? There's like a common theme of climb or look up or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
So it's like the rebellion is climbing out of wherever they're at, all of their holes to fight back against this empire. And it is like an attack from below, not from above.
Very awesome.
But also just the TIE Fighter itself, so cool. Like, you never see him that close to land, like get that scale and how loud and powerful it is. Very cool. Very intimidating.
Cool. And also just shows just them like, you know that TIE Fighter was just flying and he saw them. He's like, oh, I'm going to go mess with them.
Yeah, had to be a dick.
Yeah, just but super loud and powerful. Really cool to see.
Yeah.
You don't really get that in Star Wars, seeing those different points of view.
Maybe
from a certain point of view.
Whoa, there's the zoom. The zoom came back.
Yeah. The next part I have is I love the idea, like we've seen spies before, for example, in the sequels, right? Whatever that dude's name is. I don't care about him. But here, the spy is just so much more powerful.
Yeah.
I forget the character's name that's actually in the Empire. He's a lieutenant.
Kroll or something? Let's see.
Balin Scroll?
No. I don't know why he's not here on this screen. I told Spencer I was going to pull up the names so that I didn't do this. Gorn. I knew it was 4 letters.
Yeah. Love, like, his reason is so deep of why he's fighting, because he fell in love, he got overlooked over a promotion for it, and they killed their... And it's like, I just love it, because it's like, he's got such a reason to do it, but just like no one is expecting him at all.
Yeah.
Like he's just very calm. Like no one's like, oh, he's a spy. And I love the idea of a spy when it's done well. And this in this series, it's
super
done
well.
so good.
Yeah. I also love that moment because we hear reference that he did fall in love with a girl there or person. We don't discriminate,
It's true. I think they just say someone.
But then he's talking to like his superior or his inferior, and he's like, "Yeah, you can smell the Aldani or whatever."
Yeah,
and like you can just see the disdain for this guy and for like the entire empire and how they treat the people of the galaxy, you know. And that's like the little seed that's in Gorn is really cool.
Yeah, and you see it. I mean, like, because I don't think they've mentioned it at that point, but the second he like says that, you can tell his whole demeanor changed.
Yeah,
when he said it, like, oh, so there's something there that, and you also get it earlier when he's like, why is the targets on this?
Target practice. Yeah,
you can tell there's something there, which is like done so good. Like it doesn't like, of course, later on it's explicitly said, but your mind is getting there, so it's not like a shock. You're like, oh, that's very good writing.
Very good.
Love it.
Very good.
The next thing I had was just that Vel's a little jealous. And I never noticed it before.
Yeah.
Which I thought was awesome.
Pretty cool.
One thing so I'm going back. We're cutting, so there's the cuts in between Cyril and his mommy.
Yeah.
Hate her.
Yeah. Horrible.
But there was a line she said that stuck out to me I didn't notice before was, he knows how much we're counting on you. And I'm like, is there a deeper meaning, or is that just putting the fact that she is that type of person that like her son has to be doing something important or she has no value?
Yeah, it seems like the latter, honestly.
Right. But but I just never noticed that before. Like, I think that's exactly what it is. It plays into her character. Right. But I like, I guess you're right. I guess it probably doesn't mean anything else, but maybe
it does because he's coming back for the second season, which he's just an insignificant character. Where it's like they kept him for the entire season, and then the final episode, spoilers to everybody, he's like it's focused on him a lot.
Yeah,
and then he meets back up with
Little Miss Blondie.
Little Miss Blondie.
I'm Little Miss Blondie.
Dedra Miro, and so it's like, are they gonna have some kind of connection going into the second season? So maybe there is a deeper meaning to it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume that he's definitely going to be fulfilling that role and become a bigger person in the Empire. Maybe even lieutenant. Who knows what he could become?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, because it's true. If they wanted to get rid of him, they would have stopped showing him the second his plan failed, and he would have left because they've done it to the other three characters. The rest of those characters were just written off. So. Interesting to see, nonetheless.
Very cool. But yes, his mom is a horrible character. You hate her. I mean, she's a great
writing.
character because you hate her.
Honestly, it's like I know I keep talking about Harry Potter, and I'll never stop. The fourth movie, I think.
Oh, Salacious Crumb. What's her name?
Close. No, she's the pink. She's in all pink.
Yeah.
I hate her so much.
I think she's like one of the most hated people in cinema history.
Shows how good of writing people can do.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the mom. Like, I hate her. And it's like, I have to like do that. Like, I'm like, if I see this person in public, am I going to be a dick? No. I shouldn't. But man, do I want to.
Yeah.
You're so annoying. But yeah, the mom is a super annoying character, which plays into why Cyril is the way he is.
Right.
Because that's who he's grown up with his whole life. So pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
The next thing I have is that they blue balled us so hard in this episode. And I think they'll blue ball us up into the halfway of the next episode of the actual heist.
Yeah. Dude, I was telling you, because I was watching it as they were coming out. I was like, I finished this episode, turned to Grace, and I was like, they're still not showing the heist. She had no idea what I was talking about. But it's like, damn. But I just love the pacing of this show.
So good.
I love when Skeen and Clem's Andor's stuff comes to a head.
Oh yes, that's really good.
And he like pulls this guy Kyber away from him, and then Cassian comes clean.
Mm-hmm. He just lays it out.
Yeah, which is so cool,
dude. I love what he says. Like when he says, "You're all scared, so don't use me. Like if you're scared, don't use me as an excuse."
Right. It would have been something else.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would have been something. If I would have told you from the beginning, it'd be something else. And
Yeah.
like, no, that's not true. Maybe you're scared. Maybe like you're projecting. He's like, I am scared.
Right.
I don't know any of you. I'm putting my life and trust into all of you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is such a dope. Like he's like clearly he thinks about it. He's not someone who would just impulsively say it. So he's like, this is the time I gotta come clean, and it's gonna be fine. Which is so cool because it is.
Dude, he's one of the best freaking characters in Star Wars. I'm gonna stand by it.
Yeah,
he's great. Speaking of, this isn't Star Wars news, but it is Diego Luna news.
I love him.
Him and his buddy Gale are gonna be in The Boys Mexico.
That
is so sick.
I didn't even know they were doing that.
I don't think that it was confirmed until today.
Wow, that's awesome. I love Diego Luna.
I know.
He's doing those spinoffs, dude. Narcos Mexico.
I know, that's what I was thinking. He's doing the Mexicos.
Star Wars Mexico.
If you like Diego Luna and you want to get ready for that show, you should watch Y Tu Mamá También.
Is he in it?
Yep, both of them are. They play like best friends.
Is that a comedy, horror, sci-fi?
It's like a drama.
I'll have to watch it.
It's in Spanish.
Mi mente no puede entender.
Solo puedes entender. Yo no sé. But yeah, anyway, sorry, that was
it's cool.
Tangent, but
I think it's a good tangent to have.
I think so.
Whoa, big burp. Sorry
Big
about that.
burp coming.
The last thing I have here is that Key? What did you say the guy's name was? Skeen's brother killed himself.
Yeah.
But it was pretty dark.
Big revelation.
Pretty dark with like his story. Is like, yeah, they came and took everything, and he realized I have nothing. And he filled his pockets with rocks and went. We were like, dang,
it's nuts, and it's convincing. But I love how he's like, that's the closest thing to an apology you're gonna get.
Yes.
And then the little chuckle from Cassian. It's like, because at that moment,
right.
Anyway, pretty crazy.
Well, and the thing, that moment when he's talking to him, I'm like, this is very, like, it's just real. It was like a very like authentic acting thing of like, all right, they want me to tell you this thing, and like you're like reluctantly wanting to say it, and then, and like he like has weird pauses. I'm like, that's pretty authentic.
That guy is a good actor. I can't think of what else he's in.
Oh, he's in Where the Wild Things Are.
I love that bit of yours. I really do, actually.
Fine. He's in How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, he is? I'm going to rewatch those because I saw somebody rate them 5 stars.
First one's great.
I've heard the first and second one are great.
I don't remember the second one.
Okay, he's not in that much, but he's in No Hard Feelings, and he's now in The Bear.
Oh, I need to watch
which is where I had seen pictures of him because people were excited about it. I guess his character's cool.
That's my next on the list. I'm finishing Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's in my background show. And then I'm going to do a couple movies. And I think I'm going to watch The Bear after.
Damn, bro. You tear through TV shows.
Yeah, it's just because I just, like when I'm working, like if I have something stupid on in the background, it's perfect. Because I'm like not, but sometimes I do watch but like if it's a show I like The Sopranos, I do have to pause it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is important.
Right.
Focus.
What movies are you going to?
Oh, that is an awesome question from my friend Austin. Thank you, Austin.
Jeez.
I need to watch the John Wick movies. I've seen 0 of them. I know. Crazy.
They're good. They're great.
I know. Crazy. Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Godfather. Never seen it. Irishman. I was like, I need to tear through. I think.
Are you just naming pictures that are on the walls here?
Maybe subconsciously. All those are why I'm saying them. Because like 3 of them are right there. And then I watched I can't remember what it was on TikTok. There was a scene from Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Neither have I. I'd love to watch that.
And then I want to watch Truman Show.
You've never seen that?
Never seen Truman Show. I mean, I know the whole plot.
Right, of course.
I was seeing things of it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I want to watch that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to jump back into TV shows.
Well, great. I cannot wait to hear about it.
I might put John Wick at the end. Actually, I might watch Pulp Fiction first.
John Wick would honestly be a good kind of background movie. I don't know. Pulp Fiction's great, though. I think you should start with that.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Sorry for the detour. Hey, we're just media guys. That's all.
That's it. We're big media.
Yeah.
Also, man, that cereal he was eating looks so good.
I know. And then I remember when it was coming out, Star Wars did like a little campaign with it. Like they showed you how to make similar stuff or something like that. I can't remember.
Dude, They need to sell that at Galaxy's Edge. Give me a bowl of cereal for the morning, $5.
Were you eating cereal for lunch yesterday?
I was. When you said that to me.
When you said that, I was like, cereal?
Yeah. I was eating some Lucky Charms. Not
Nice.
Lucky Charms.
Sure.
Cheap and get a huge bag of them. So
Sure.
Look at it. See, it's the second time we've ended talking about food.
I know. Jeez. Dude, how much longer do we have, do you think?
With this?
Yeah.
Well,
Are we done? I'm going to go poop my pants. Here's what I've been doing, audience. I'm definitely lactose intolerant, self-diagnosed. And the past couple of days, I've just been drinking a shit ton of eggnog, bro. It is the worst thing for my body I can even imagine. Like, I could do cocaine, and it wouldn't be as bad for my body as eggnog is, but I can't stop.
You're a big eggnog drinker. I didn't know this about you.
I freaking love
You put
eggnog,
nutmeg
dude.
with it or cinnamon?
No, man. Just buy the old-fashioned stuff, and usually it's pretty well-flavored.
Yeah. I can do a glass, and that's about it for around this time.
Dude, if I start, you cannot stop me.
That's
like, I need to buy them in
insane.
smaller cartons because I'll drink a whole half gallon.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you're killing yourself by doing
and it's like 4,000 calories probably.
All right. Anyway, our listeners, I think that's all we have.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for another awesome installment of Guess That Jedi in the next episode in Andor, where it's starting to get real good if you're following along. If you've been watching, you're like, nothing's happening. It's about to start happening. All right.
Okay. Thank you for being a disciple of the Force.